Hi everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Dark Souls 2. Big episode on the last episode. We killed the first major boss of the game, the first boss at all, I guess, of the game. And we got 2 Estus Flask shards. Those are very important. We had our first death of the series. Now we have 3 Estus Flasks, so hopefully that's not going to happen again. And we're going to go to a new area. We also picked up a new weapon, this time purchasing it with our legal tender, aka the souls that we use to sustain our life. The hand axe here, and we upgraded it a little bit. It was a big episode. Now, I remember thinking that there's like something over here, but there's not. There's just angry pigs. You may have heard of it. It's the #1 seller on the App Store right now. But there is also an area here where I can actually go down, and I took a wrong turn. Oh, there's probably items up here too. I believe there's a covenant that you can join up here as well, but let's just get the items for now. Really nice, you know, picturesque view here. I can't wait to say this like, oh, I'm liking this game, but, you know, I can't wait till it comes out on PC so this looks better. But seriously, I can't wait to, like, take a screenshot of this. This is gonna look really nice. It's like New Lano Ruins, except not so bad. So we could enter the Covenant or offer the Awe Stone to the Victor's Stone, but I think this might be a Covenant that actually makes the game harder. So I don't necessarily want to do that. You know what, pig monsters? We're not gonna do this today. I'm going to head down into the next area. And I kind of forgot how it starts here. So I'm playing a little bit blind. We got some souls, I guess, just for the act of walking down here. And this is an element, or a level, that's going to be very important to us a little bit later. You can see it's like a mechanism here, but we can't turn it ourselves. We need somebody else who is a little bit more skilled than us to do it. So, new area coming up. A couple of new boss fights, and a new path that's going to open up some really interesting stuff. And there'll be some really cool boss fights here as well that's a little bit callbacky to Dark Souls 1, if you're the kind of person that's interested in it. You know, this is not a, you know, Demon Souls to Dark Souls type thing, where there's like some references, but, you know, thematically is the main link between them. The themes are the main link, I should say, in the tone. There's like direct references to Dark Souls 1, which is really cool, even if it sometimes does feel a little bit fan service-y. I'm okay with that. So we got the Crimson Parma. It's a bad weapon, or sorry, a bad shield, because it is, well, it blocks more magical damage, but it's worse with everything else, except equipment load. It makes our equipment load a little bit better, but the Iron Parma is way better. You know what, we could actually, if we wanted to, put on the set of other armor, but it would cause us to not have as good of a roll. We want to stay, like, under 60%, I think. Under 70%, sorry, maybe, in order to continue to have the fast roll, which we do, so that's good. Alright, are there enemies around here? Does not appear so. I'm taking an awful long time, considering there's no enemies around here to actually bother me. But I believe we can just kind of open this door, unless I am having a little bit of a brain fart. Oh, you know what? I think there's a pulley that we can pull on back here. There's a switch? It must be over here. Yes, okay, there we go. Again, I told you that I didn't really know what I was getting myself into in this area, even though I have been here before. You know, I've played like 20, 25 hours of the game so far. So, all this stuff is stuff that I've already seen, but, you know, you move through a lot of areas in Dark Souls 2 relative to what you would have done in Dark Souls 1 by this point. Like, probably, Josh and Nick and I were talking about it in, like, the roundtable that we did, but by the halfway point of the game, we basically fought somewhere in the vicinity of like a little over a dozen bosses, which is kind of nuts. Did I not pick up oh, I picked up like a broken thief sword there, maybe? I'm not sure. But yeah, we fought like just a little over a dozen bosses, so, you know, there's a lot of bosses that you'll be facing over the course of Dark Souls 2. Alright, so we get to another area, and an area that looks very nice, if I do say so myself. This is Heide's Tower of Flame. And what we have to do here is, there's a bonfire very close by that we'll probably rush to. And then we could either rush to another boss. Those guys are much scarier looking than they actually are, by the way. We could rush to a boss, or we could farm these enemies a little bit. But I'm not really much of a farmer when it comes to Dark Souls or Dark Souls 2. Much more of a lover. So the easiest way to take these guys out, like a lot of enemies in the game, you know what? That's pretty good damage. I'm actually very pleased with the damage that's being done there. But like a lot of enemies in the game, they have like a standard 3-hit combo that they do. I'm not very pleased with the fact that I had to roll there, but I am kind of pleased with the roll. And they'll drop items as well, but yeah, you just wait for them to finish their little combo, and then you just run into them basically and finish the job. I think they always drop cracked blue eye orbs, or the only thing that they drop That was stupid of me. Are cracked blue eye orbs. And I think this is something that you use for the Blue Sentinel Covenant. But, you know, I'm a member of that Covenant, but since there's no online play yet, I don't know what that actually means for me. So, you can see these guys, the bigger they are, the harder they fall, basically. Probably another cracked blue eye orb here. If I... Oh, Sublime Bone Dust. If I actually look at that in my inventory, I believe that's an item that I can use. If I... There it is. Yeah, burn in a bonfire, the bonfire in Majula specifically, and it'll actually upgrade our Estus Flask to +1. So we are going to reach the point where, you know, my Estus Flask here in Dark Souls 1, or sorry, Dark Souls 2, like, a couple hours in, maybe, is going to be stronger and better than my Estus Flask was, like, 20 hours in Dark Souls 1 on that race that we did on the stream. I ended up beating the game with no reinforced Estus Flask, which was really stupid of me, but it's a lot easier to get reinforced Estus Flasks in Dark Souls 2, because I don't think you can just use the Bone Dust for anything. So we get the cracked blue eye orb. We also have the ability to hit this switch here, and when we pull this, it will turn the mechanism on the other side of the map, thereby allowing us the opportunity to get there in the future. As you can see, now we have like an outer ring that we can actually use to walk up to that area. But we've got to get over there first, and that is not going to be easy. Lloyd's Talisman, of course. I'm guessing we can probably use that to kill a Mimic if we wanted to. A couple of bosses here. One of them is going to be over there, and the other one is going to be over here. So, you know, typically what I do... And I hate to say it because people are going to get really frustrated with me, but typically what I do is either kite these enemies out and kill them one by one. You know, that's good for souls. And what's good for the souls is good for the gander. That's what I've always said. By the way, enemy pathing and AI, way smarter in Dark Souls 2. They will actually be able to navigate this bridge pretty well. Even though it looks like I should probably just try to get them to, like, maybe fall off. It's not necessary. That was stupid of me to roll there because, you know, I could have easily rolled myself off the edge, but... yeah, I typically don't fight these guys, to be honest with you, but I'll fight a couple of them here, just to do it, basically. Probably shouldn't let that happen for that reason. That was really dumb of me. Not as dumb as that was, though. Okay, let's Estus up, because I'm an idiot. Luckily, we have 3. Oh my god, I'm so mad because I'm bad. That was a stupid way to die. That's why I always run past those guys. And, you know, Josh's coined it the lion strat. He's like, are you lion stratting through an area? That's when you just, like, sprint past all the enemies and go fight the bosses. But to be honest with you, I find the enemies harder than the bosses. I don't think it's a scummy tactic to just run through the game and get to the fog wall. You know, in Dark Souls, you do what you can to survive. You do what you have to do to survive, I guess I should say. So let's get our Bloodstain back, and we'll move to the right and maybe fight another boss and meet an NPC. I don't think there's a summon for this boss, but I don't think there needs to be a summon for the boss either. We haven't seen an AI summon yet. Rest assured, you will see at least a few of them. Most of the ones that I've encountered and used for boss fights are actually truly god-awful. You know, if you thought, like, Witch Beatrice was bad, there are actually worse AI summons in Dark Souls 2 than Witch Beatrice, by far. If you thought Man-Eater Mildred is bad, you are actually going to, like, long for the days when Man-Eater Mildred existed. So, you know, the big enemy with the... sword doesn't actually get regenerated, or the club, I don't know what you would call it. He doesn't regenerate. So all we have to do is take out these, you know, relatively lesser minions. See, the enemies are a lot better about not just randomly falling off the edge, which is, you know, a positive change overall, because the AI was a little bit easy to game in Dark Souls 1. Not to say that Dark Souls 1 is an easy game, or even that Dark Souls 2 is more difficult, to tell you the truth. It's just... to say that it is what it is. Did I pick up my bloodstain? I can't remember. I must have, because it would have been like right here. And now we do what I always do, and maybe you like it, maybe you don't. If you don't, I apologize, but I appreciate your support nonetheless. We're just gonna basically sprint through this area. Try not to fall to your death down the Colosseum steps. Thought maybe there would be an item over there. There should be a fog wall, like right down here. But there is a chest over here, and it's a scary thing to do, but... we might as well come over here and obviously give it the requisite attack just to see if it's a mimic. The AI should follow us, by the way, which is one of the things, again, I'm mentioning all the time, is that I think the AI is a lot better for the enemies in Dark Souls 2 compared to what it was in Dark Souls 1. So, we just baited him into doing an attack, so he probably won't be able to hit me as I go through the fog wall. Ooh, that was really scary. Alright, so we're going up against Dragonrider here. Typical Dark Souls, Dark Soulsy boss. I hope you don't get motion sickness because we are going to be doing a lot of circle strafing, basically, against Dragonrider. Now, Dragonrider is, I would say, almost an order of magnitude easier than the Giant, basically. I can't remember if he/she has a second phase of the attack, but as you can see here, pretty easy right now, all things considered. Probably is prudent to be a little bit more patient than I actually am being right now. And what I mean by that, basically, is, you know, don't go for the 2 attacks if you're having problems with damage. Just go for the 1 attack and just whittle it down. Take your time. You'll be fine. I'm very confident. So this is Dragonrider deciding, like, oh, man, okay, phase 2. Probably we're going to get into multiple hit combos now or something like that, but for now, you know, Dark Souls 101 when it comes to fighting bosses is pretty much just say, like, you know, tight and walk around in a circle, wait for the combos to finish, and then, you know, take your time to strike. And this is a logic that kind of holds true almost to a fault, I think, in Dark Souls 2. A lot of these enemies, at least enemies that are like, you know, dude or lady plus weapon, you basically just get up in their grill, trying to take them to a hotel. You know, you must be a football coach the way you got me playing the field, but seriously, you just kind of repeat this over and over. And it's still intense because 1 hit is enough to kill you, but it's a little bit repetitive time to time. But there are way more bosses in the game relative to the first game in the franchise. Well, I guess the first game in the franchise is Demon's Souls. I don't want to invoke the complete wrath of the internet there. But get used to seeing that strategy for a number of bosses. If you can't beat Dragonrider, my advice to you is just practice. You know, be patient, use your shield, but perhaps even more importantly, well, no, more importantly, learn the patterns. But secondary importance, I would definitely suggest you know, utilizing that blacksmith and upgrading a weapon. The axe seems to be doing a pretty decent job so far, and that was a relatively painless trip to the second bonfire in Heide's Tower of Flame. Now, I don't necessarily want to spoil anything for you. What I will say is I would advise you to talk to this lady as much as you can to exhaust her dialogue tree. So this is Lucia. I almost just bought something there because I was mashing the button so hard. Lucia sells you miracles and items related to faith. You know, this is basically going to be your miracle person if you are going to... if you're going to be a faith-based character. I'm not a faith-based character. Maybe I'll run one of those eventually, but for now, not necessary. Cleric's Sacred Chime is, I believe, what you actually use to become a cleric, basically, or, you know, cast faith-based spells. Instead of talismans, you use chimes. But yes, she doesn't really have that much for me. Oh, don't backstep off the edge, you ding-dong. What I would suggest is making sure that you talk to her over and over and over. And again, I am spoiling a lot of the dialogue here, but disregard this. Again, if you want story stuff from Dark Souls 2, I would advise you to, like, watch Epic Name Bro or something like that. So, we're at the Tower of Flame. I'm actually going to travel back to Majula quickly. And the reason I'm going to do that is because we can reinforce our Estus Flask, which is a very smart thing to do, stay on top of it, and I want to level up again. And, you know, leveling up is not necessarily the most important thing in Dark Souls, in the franchise in general, I guess. In Dark Souls 1, plenty of people did a very good job on Soul Level 1, which I'm always impressed with. I did do a Soul Level 1 of Dark Souls run, but I mostly had summons just beat the game for me, so I don't know if that necessarily counts. So we can burn things in the fire. We can burn human effigies. It says it reverses hollowing. I mean, if you just eat it, it reverses hollowing, but it also weakens the links to other worlds, preventing invasions and most cooperation. So this might be a way if you're worried about being invaded, you can actually spend humanity to not get invaded, which is basically the inverse of how it works in Dark Souls 1. But anyway, so we're going to cast these into the fire, and this should give me an Estus Flask +1. Excellent. And we'll talk to Emerald Lady. We can also access like a bottomless item box, but that's not necessary for us right now. Let's level up instead. And again, I know that people may not necessarily be super fond of this. Leveling up strength, I think, is a super smart idea. 30 strength is not only going to give us a decent amount of extra weapon damage, it's going to allow us to actually use a shield with 100% defense. And I'm trying to remember where I got a shield with 100% defense, because I want to stop taking damage when I'm actually blocking. I guess it wasn't from this guy, and oh, I forgot about this chest here. It would be pretty messed up if the dude had a mimic, like, right in his office, but, you know, people keep weird pets these days. What do you got? Short bow. Well, that could be useful in the future, obviously. I guess we'll just wait until we get a better shield. Do I have any souls in my inventory? I do. Let's use the Soul of a Lost Undead. Worst case scenario, I'll probably be able to grab an extra level. But anyway, what I was getting at is 30 souls is basically the number where I can one-hand wield a shield with 100% physical blocking. So that's very important. Hopefully we'll be able to find a shield like that in the next area. As is, I'm kind of okay with using... Oh, there's a ladder up here. Maybe there's a shield up here. Kind of don't want to, you know, why buy the cow when you got the milk for free? If you're selling goods, you shouldn't allow me to steal things from your shop. But I guess even the best anti-theft defense is not going to always save you. It's just a Titanite shard. It's a loaner, I guess, to get you hooked on the business. Like a drug dealer giving you an early supply for free. Okay, so we can buy something from him. This shield is 2,000. Is 95... defense. That's pretty good. Right now we only have 85 defense. I want to buy it, but we're about 1,000 souls away. I could crunch the giant's soul. A lot of people are not going to like that idea. I could crunch the Dragonrider's soul as well. You know what? I hate... This is going to annoy a lot of people. I know you can make boss weapons with these later. I'm going to use the soul of the last giant. This is not ignorance. I understand that... this is costing me an item later in the game, and I'm making the choice for efficiency's sake to eat that, and we'll buy this 95. No, I don't need 3 of them. That's just ridiculous. Yeah, but I'm making a conscious decision to buy that item instead, which will give me an extra 10% physical block. And watch me, like, in the next immediate treasure chest, I'll find a shield with 100%. But for now, at least it's probably going to look cool, too. I like it. Kind of like the Eagle Shield in Dark Souls 1. I'm not sure... Our equipment load is still fine. Let me check on that briefly. Equipment. We're at 66%. Might be prudent to, like, take off our pants. 58%. That'll make us a little bit faster. I'm not sure if that actually impacts our roll, but I kind of like the idea of just walking around in my skirt here. So, cool. I understand that I'm taking a long time to do, like, some administrative work here, but it's in the interest of improving ourselves. We have another 5,000 souls, so I figure why not level up a little bit more. And, you know what? We can probably afford to level up 1 Vigor and 1 Endurance. We should level up Vitality, too, because obviously we want to, you know, reach a position where we can wear better armor without worrying so much about our equipment load. But first things first, let's go back to the Tower of Flame and make a little bit more progress, potentially. I don't think we'll fight another boss over the course of this video. Although we could, in fact, there is another boss, like, in this general vicinity. But maybe I'll save that for the next episode. Because there's fast travel, I don't have to worry so much about the layout of these episodes. I could come here right now, and then in the next episode, we can, you know, teleport back to 2 bonfires ago and take an alternate path and fight an alternate boss. I'm psyched that we have this shield. I'm psyched that we have this axe. I think we've done some good character improvements, and we've been smart about it, which is something that I didn't really do towards the end of my career in Dark Souls 1, if you will. And I'm just checking, of course, to see if there's any items down here. This is where Dark Souls likes to hide items sometimes, behind these columns that I can barely get around. Monastery Charm? I'll admit, I actually don't know what it is. But I'm sure someone in the comments will let me know, because by this time, the game will have been out for a couple of days. By the time you're watching this video, I should say, the game will have been out for a couple of days, and inevitably, people will know a lot about the game. Alright, so that's a bad start. Thankfully, I got this shield, so I could just, instead of blocking, roll through every attack, like I just said that I don't want to do. Sometimes, by the way, that's a weird glitch. The sound ends up not coming out at the right time. It takes a couple of seconds delay. I don't know what causes that, but I will tell you, it's real freaking annoying. Let's move on to this guy as well. This is actually, as you are probably aware by now, the substantially easier version of this. And notice that I'm taking a lot less damage. The thing that's nice is that, you know, when you can actually afford to block, as opposed to just, or you can afford to block without taking a lot of damage anyway, the Ring of Restoration can actually completely counteract the amount of damage that you take from blocking. And eventually it'll just be, you know, profitable health, because you won't be taking any damage at all once you get that 100% defense shield. But I think we've set up our character quite nicely for a beginner-friendly standpoint. Dark Troches, I actually don't know what it is, but we did get a humanity there. Soul of a Proud Knight is basically a soul item we can munch. And the Old Knight Halberd, we could take a quick look and be like, well, it lowers a couple of things, but it does improve our, we'll just put it on here for a second. Why can't we use this effectively? What kind of strength do you need to be able to use this weapon? You actually need 20 dexterity, which I don't have. But that's fine. It made our equipment load too high. Probably does a lot of damage, but I'm okay with the Battle Axe's moveset. So I think this is a reasonably good choice for us right now. So we're going to have to fight a few more of these guys, and we'll probably play on this episode until we get to the next bonfire, which I imagine is... Well, I should just remember, but I don't think it's too far away. See, these guys, the only thing that makes these guys kind of a pain in the ass, they're actually pretty easy, even though one of them killed me. But they're pretty easy, except for the fact that they don't get staggered. Most of the enemies in the game, you can kind of take a rush-down approach to them, basically. And as soon as they're done with the combo, or when they're about to do like a third hit on a combo that has a wind-up time, like that, for example, you can just knock them out of it and interrupt their animation. Not so with the big Heide Knights here. Anyway, one more hit will do it, but it pays to be patient. Let's not take any collateral damage, and there's probably more items over here. Nope, this is actually an exit, so I think that there's more items over here. I'm not very OCD when it comes to, and again, I'm not belittling real mental illness, but it's, you know, parlance of the times. No item over here either. Maybe a secret door? You don't need to attack to find secret doors. You can just mash the enter button. Maybe there'll be something over here later. But anyway, yeah, I'm not very anal, maybe is a better word, about trying to find every single item in every single nook and cranny. But it's important to make sure you get all that bone dust if possible, and it's important to make sure that you get all the Estus shards. Not even if possible, it's just important to make sure you get all the Estus shards. So I'd say that was another relatively efficient area here for us. New shields are working out pretty nicely. By the way, if you're wondering why my health bar is not at full anymore, that's a mechanic where basically when you're not human, every time you die, you lose something like 2% of your max HP. And that sounds really bad. It's kind of like a miniature version of being cursed. Honestly, it is really bad sometimes. But as soon as you use humanity, you get it back. So you don't have to use it over and over either. You can just use it once to get it back and then let it slowly tick down again. And there's a ring that you can get that will lower the amount that will actually bother you as well. So I imagine, yeah, like of course there's going to be some enemies here. This actually looks like it's the correct way to go. This is bad for me. Yeah, that was, it wasn't unavoidable damage, but it was unavoidable the way I set it up. Because I was sprinting on the way to the enemy, which is something you never want to do. And also being, like, in waist-deep water like this is just going to drain our stamina even faster. So we'll just be cool here. It should be another easy boss. I don't think you can get a backstab animation on these guys. I'll just go for the kill there, and that worked out. I can't remember if I want to go up the staircase right away, or if I just want to run to the exit. I think I want to run to the exit over here. And maybe there's a secret door. Doesn't appear to be so. Kind of a cheesy way of looking for it, but whatever. I can't remember if this is the correct path. Oh, this is the correct path. Okay, so this takes us to a bonfire. So what I'm actually going to do... Oh, man, I totally remember what the next area of the game is now, and I'm not looking forward to it. It's like Blighttown minus the lag, so get ready for that. But we might as well check out and see what we've got on our right side up this area where the enemy was. Maybe there'll be an item up there that will make the next area a little bit easier, but yeah, get ready for kind of a nasty part of the game where I expect to find myself dying at least a few times. Nothing up here? Might be something up here. Usually there's items kind of hidden in these cubby holes. Oh, okay. Always want to make sure it's a metal chest. That could mean a good item that the game doesn't want to let you destroy. We'll see. Okay, it's the night set. So we can actually put on some of that stuff. Let's get naked here for a second. And we'll put on the knight helm. And we'll put on the knight's armor. That takes us pretty close to our equipment load. I'm okay with being at like 64%. And we kind of look like Oscar from Dark Souls 1 now. Or, you know, the standard knight class loadout for Dark Souls 1. And there's a door over here, which we cannot open. I think we need to get another boss killed, basically, before we can do that. So we're going to come over to this bonfire, and this is going to open up a new area to us called No Man's Wharf, I believe. This is probably the area in the game, at least in the early game, that gave me the biggest amount of trouble. And believe you me when I tell you that the lead up to this is nothing. The thing that's actually important is the... well, let me put it this way. The way to get here was disproportionately easy compared to the way to get to the next area. So we're just going to run through the stalagmites here and light the bonfire and maybe do a little bit of a rest. And we can talk to our NPC in the next episode, I think. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the episode. If you did, make sure to show your support in the form of a like. It really helps out a great deal. The soulless eyes of Thornforge, the pink beard, compel you to do so. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more Dark Souls 2 on your homepage as well. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon with another episode. Thanks for watching.